the 80s, 90s, 100s, they had a total different lifestyle, different consciousness they were born in. And we, the guys that were born in the 80s and 90s, we hardly make it more than 60 if we can. Very interesting. All right, so we're going to start our Zoom meeting. If anyone wants to join, they can join in WhatsApp. There's the link there in the WhatsApp group. So just click in and then you'll be able to join.
All right.
Okay, we're live, Mahaprabhu.
Haribol.
Live.
Haribol. Haribol to everybody.
Haribol, Jai.
Hope everybody's feeling well tonight.
Jai. Give them an invitation, Mahaprabhu.
Please join us on this video call.
Yeah.
We would love to hear from you.
Jai.
We need to get transcendental and not transformational.
Yes.
We need to That's right.
Transcendental and transformed.
That's exactly right. It's a safe place to be.
Yeah.
To get away from the material, to get away from the mind, and to speak and experience from the jiva platform, from the soul.
Yes.
If we are truly mind, body, and soul, we need to forget about the body and the soul and the mind and connect through the soul if we can.
Yeah. So we have to come to the realization that every living entity is a spirit soul. That's the foundational basis of Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada starts off, whenever Srila Prabhupada to discuss with different philosophers, he used to start from that point. That does your religion teach you about who you are? Or can you tell the difference between the body, the mind, and the soul? What is the symptom of the soul, which is consciousness? Consciousness is the symptom of the soul. So this is how universal this teaching
Krishna.
is. Yeah, Krishna. And then comes the Krishna conscious part. First, you have to understand that you're not this body. You're a spirit soul. Krishna is the supreme spirit soul, and every living entity has a relationship with Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Absolutely. Yeah. That is the truth.
Yeah.
And we need to spread that truth.
Yeah. So if we come to this realization and see from the level of the soul, then there's no religion. There's only one religion, the religion of the soul, right? And the religion of the soul is to get connected with God.
It's all about God.
God, yes. Everyone's looking for something, right? In this material world, looking for this, that, but they don't actually become happy.
I've always believed that we are spiritual beings having an earthly experience. We are not earthlings trying to find the spiritual connection.
Yeah, we are spiritual living entities. When we identify with a material body and we think we're in this body, that's where the problem comes in.
But we need this body for the jiva to act through.
Yeah, this is a temporary thing, but the tendencies of acting sometimes, when you're sleeping, you're not active. This body's not active, but the subtle mind is there, So
that's right.
If you really think about it, you're not even using this body. There's a subtle aspect which people cannot see. When you're sleeping, you're having a dream. You're totally unaware of the body that you're in. The soul is presently residing. It's having its own experience. So that goes to show that there's life beyond this bodily conception of life, right?
Exactly.
So if we think it in that context, how many types of bodies we have had. Just because we're awake right now, we think this is reality. When we're sleeping, we think something else is reality.
That's right. It makes sense, Ramachandra Singh Das.
Yeah. So,
I'm trying to teach my family that.
well, that's a great start. You're trying, and
they're not getting it yet.
Well, most people are concerned with the body, they don't get any spiritual wisdom about the soul.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we're so much concerned with the body, family, friends, everything is based on the body. We never have conversations based on the level of the soul. I'm a soul, you're a soul. Everyone is just a spiritual soul.
Hare Krishna.
Yes. Hare Krishna.
Did you work today?
Oh yeah. Yes. I had work today, came home about 6 o'clock.
You're still in the same location?
Yes.
Where they're doing all the renovation?
Oh, that place. No. That place, I'm out of that town into a new town.
Okay.
Yeah. There was Grass Valley.
So you move around a little bit.
Yeah. Yes.
That's good. Change is good.
Yeah, I like change. My job is offers me flexibility, and it pays the bills, right?
Absolutely. That's the bottom line here on earth.
Yeah, get the bill. Simple living, high thinking. We don't have, we don't drink, we don't smoke, we don't do all kinds of stuff. So our life is simple yet sublime.
Yes. Never drank, never smoked?
I drank and smoked, but that was I never smoked, but I used to drink maybe 2007, 2006.
A couple beers?
Yeah, nothing.
Okay, that's nothing.
Yeah, when I came in contact with Krishna consciousness, my life changed. So
when did that happen, Ramachandra Singh Das?
About 2008, 2009, that's when I really, started investigating about what is the goal of life. So you can say,
who introduced you?
I got introduced to Krishna consciousness. No one introduced me, actually. I was in college and I was studying. About religion and philosophy. So I thought, why not, learn about Hinduism?
Okay.
So some or other Krishna inspired me to search about Hinduism, and Krishna put the thought in me that, hey, there's a book called Bhagavad Gita. Why don't you search about that book? So I did that. I searched about Bhagavad Gita, and I came to YouTube and I put Bhagavad Gita, and then so many videos came up. I started watching the videos. Then I went online on eBay and bought a book, Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita as it is, the 1972 edition. And then once I got the book, I was listening to the lectures, conversations, and things like that Srila Prabhupada was giving. So in this way, my taste about spirituality gradually developed. Some few years later, I think it was probably 3 years later, I started associating with devotees online, and I met with devotees locally. And ever since then, my spiritual life has been developing,
Excellent.
So baby steps at a time. So
how did you meet Narayan?
Narayan Prabhu came, Narayan Prabhu's association I met through a devotee named Shravan. He's here in Sacramento. He actually stayed with Narayan Prabhu when he was in Los Angeles. And I told Shravan Prabhu, hey, you have contact of this devotee named Narayan Prabhu. Why not let's do a Zoom meetings? Let's have conversations about Srila Prabhupada, what needs to be done in ISKCON, the history of ISKCON, where things went wrong, how things can be fixed. So I encouraged that devotee to do that service, but he never took up that service. I thought, if you want to do something, I guess you just got to do it yourself.
Right.
So
Wow.
I started this program I don't know, 1 year ago, or maybe more than a year ago now. And that's how it started.
Fantastic.
So now we have a medium where we can discuss philosophical issues, all kinds of issues.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I hear we're having some more devotees jumping in.
Yeah, someone just exited, so
Okay.
yes.
No Shreya, no Rupa, nobody yet?
Nope, not yet.
All right, that's okay.
Sure.
When I was a child,
Yes.
between the ages of 10 and maybe 15, my parents would take me to take a walk through Westwood, California,
All right. Yes.
over there by UCLA.
Huh.
And every other night or so, the Krishna movement would chant and walk the streets in their saffron robes.
Oh,
And I
wow.
was always very intrigued by that.
Wow.
And working at Costco, I ran into Nara Narayan
Yes.
and found out that he was Krishna consciousness. And he's the one that introduced me to the Zoom meeting and to everything. And I'm so happy that I joined.
Sure. Yeah. So this is a unique opportunity for
Wow.
people to participate in this wonderful Krishna conscious experience. It's not, mental speculation or dry philosophy. It's an active participation, because we're all part and parcel of God, and we're all spirit
Hare
souls.
Krishna.
So we participate on that level, that we're spirit souls.
The first question that he asked me, he said, Mark. I said, yes, Nathan. I knew him as Nathan at the time.
Yes.
I said, yes, Nathan. I said, what's your question? He looked at me and he said, do you have a soul? And I said, yes, I believe I have a soul. He says, no, that's the wrong answer. You are the soul. You have a body, you have a mind, but you are the soul.
Yeah. How did it hit you?
Man, it blew me away.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fantastic. It was like an instant enlightenment.
Wow. Instant enlightenment. Yeah.
Wow, it was fantastic.
Yeah, Krishna consciousness is very simple, How Narayan says, do you have a soul? The person says, oh, I think I am a soul. Narayan Prabhu would say, I don't have a soul, I am the soul.
Absolutely. A lot of people think he's crazy, but he's right.
Yeah, you're right. A lot of people do think Narayan Prabhu is crazy. But when they actually have a conversation with him, they can understand, oh, here is a person that does not speak like an ordinary, common, foolish person that is attached to the body.
Absolutely. Wow.
So in this way, we can see self-realization or God consciousness is something very nice, very unique.
Just the fact that he was with Prabhupada in the 60s, it blows my mind.
Yeah. This is how, you saw the Hare Krishnas back in the 70s and 60s or whatever you are. And now you get to meet someone who was an active participant in, that movement in the 70s and 60s. And now you're also participating in that movement some 60 years later, right?
That's exactly right. It's fascinating.
Yeah, if you really think about it with hindsight, how Krishna, God, is actually in control whenever it is the right time and we have the right stuff, we get connected to Krishna, and it's up to us if we want to take it up and make our life perfect, or we hear about it and we forget about it. A lot of people came in contact with Srila Prabhupada, but they came in contact and after a few years they left.
They let it go.
They let it go.
Well, too bad.
Yeah, too bad. But whatever advancement they have made in that short amount of time, that is already there to their credit, you know. So
Right.
they will continue, you know, from wherever they left off.
Exactly right. How's the family doing? The kids are doing okay?
Yeah, I talked to the kids today.
Good. They're happy?
Yeah, the mother's taking good care of them. You
I'm
know.
sure she is.
Yeah, yeah. So, you know.
My wife wants to move to North Carolina.
and
Oh
you're
God.
like, no.
Yeah,
Huh?
I'm not going.
You're not going. Yeah, that's my
That's
position. I'm not
that's
going.
right. We'll talk about that at a later date.
Yeah, Joy.
Oh, these women.
These women.
Oh man. They have an
Are we
agenda
talking
of their own.
Krishna? Are we talking Krishna Katha here?
Naya Nara Narayan. Good evening.
Haribol.
Hari Bol. Wow, what a pleasure to hear your voice.
Well, I had to cut off out of the Zoom call for a couple of minutes to take a
No
call,
problem.
but
Joy.
no, I did. I already did. I was on the Zoom call half an hour ago.
Yes.
You
Okay.
were
So
zooming.
what's happening? What's the topic tonight?
No, we were just having a general discussion of how Mahaprabhu back in the
Are
60s.
are we online?
Yeah, we're online. So Mahaprabhu was saying that during the 60s and 70s, when he was a child, he used to go to the park where he used to see the Hare Krishnas chanting and dancing. And then many years later, he's participating in that same program.
Got
Which,
reconnected.
Yes, that's nice.
Yes,
Hare
fantastic.
Krishnas or the devotees of Krishna?
Hare Krishnas and the devotees.
Well, Hare
It was
Krishna,
a
not Hare
beautiful
Krishnas.
scene.
They're disciples of Prabhupada, devotees of Krishna. That's what you saw.
yes.
Which park was?
Is there a difference?
Of
It was
course.
in Westwood City, Westwood, California, near UCLA.
Oh yeah.
I used
No,
to
no. Of course,
actually.
there's a difference. I can't
used to-
call myself a Hare Krishna because I'm not Radha and I'm not Krishna.
We can
You're
But
call
I'm
devotee.
the servant of Radha. I'm the servant of Radha and Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Joy.
Yes.
We are all servants of Krishna. I'm beginning to
Yes.
realize.
We can't become Hare Krishnas because that means we would become God. Hare
Chai.
Krishna means Radha and Krishna. Are you Radha and Krishna? Or
No.
are you a Radha Krishna? No,
No.
so we can't say Hare Krishnas.
We are devotees of.
Yeah, exactly. And if we say Hare Krishnas, it is not even slightly pleasing to Krishna.
I'm sure.
Not even remotely pleasing.
It's a bad word.
Well, it's a word designed to insult Krishna.
For those
So
of us that
whoever
now
wants to
know
use
better.
whoever wants to use that phrase can, but they should be aware that they're doing so deliberately insulting Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Jai. So we should
Okay.
all apologize for ever having even thought that word, that term.
I think in the near future, I'm going to buy you a new left ear mold. On me.
Oh, no. I can pay for it, but it'll take some time.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, let me load some letters up now, or the documents you sent. Then we can start the meeting, or it's already started.
I'll be parking my car. I'll be on the sidelines here for a little bit.
Jai, no problem. Prabhu.
I think Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay. Okay, we're going to read from Worship versus Service. Let me load that up.
So how many people do we have?
Just 3 people, me, you, and Mahaprabhu.
Okay. So if other people come, they'll join later, but they may have
Yeah.
tried to join and weren't able to.
All right.
The Holy Trinity.
The Holy Trinity. Okay. Share this. Okay, so this is the email, Narayan Prabhu, which you sent to me about worship versus service. And we'd like to welcome 2 more devotees just joined. So let's welcome them in the meeting.
Got it. Yeah, welcome them in.
Mohit Prabhu, after a long time, who's joining us.
Chai. Who? Mohit?
Mohit, yes.
Very nice.
And another devotee named Deep. I think he has joined us before. So if these
Chai.
2, yes, if they want to introduce themselves, Mohit Prabhu, feel free to jump in.
Get it. Make a warm welcome.
Jai Mohit Prabhu, welcome back. We missed you for the past several Zoom meetings. Nice to have you back. And we're reading from this email that Narayan Prabhu sent us. Worship versus service. Okay. Srila Prabhupada is the last Sampradaya Acharya for the golden age of Kali. In addition, the Hare Krishna mantra is stated by to be a Shaktavesh avatar, and that is the reason that you do not require an initiating guru to go back to Godhead. Initiation can be performed in a temple by the same personnel that perform the Shraddha ceremonies, weddings, and Annaprasana ceremonies, all which use basically the Sanskrit mantras beginning with Apavitro Povitro Va. ISKCON was designed by Srila Prabhupada in 1970 to be a republic, with the GBC to be elected, the elected representative, like senators of the temple presidents who elected them. Unwilling to be elected officials, the GBC has created an international totalitarian state. They have given themselves the absurd power to appoint Kanishta Adhikari Acharyas, in quote, in direct violation of the 5th verse of the Nectar of Instruction, ordered by Rupa Goswami, for instructions on how to give initiations acceptable by Krishna in Krishna Loka. So that is from the Nectar of Instruction, verse 5, talking about the 3 Adhikars, Kanishta, Madhyam, and Uttamadhikari. Whatever Kanishta Adhikari members of ISKCON create from their bodily consciousness, material desires to dominate and be dominated, with the hope of divine compensation for their having been dominated, has no standing in Krishna Loka. Krishna will only accept acts of worship or service from those who strictly follow each and every injunction and instruction given to them by Srila Prabhupada. This includes only dancing as he taught, chanting of Krishna conscious melodies, kartal beads, and mridanga beads gifted by him to even his earliest disciples. Anyone who wants to advance by, quote, doing their own way, unquote, will not please Krishna, and their actions will not be accepted by Lord Krishna as pure devotional service. And no one will be, quote, cast down, unquote, back into the, quote, material pool, unquote, simply for their stupid neglect of the order of Srila Prabhupada. They can, however, expect to remain as neophyte Kanishta Adhikaris for many births to come. Semi-purified material body after semi-purified material body, birth after birth. They too will go back to Krishna Loka someday. Okay, try. Let's go back again. I just read the whole thing.
Why not read it and discuss the points one by one?
Yeah. So Srila Prabhupada is the last Sampradaya Acharya for the golden age of Kali. So anyone who's watching this, if they have a different understanding, I'd like you to share that realization on our Zoom meeting, or send me a message or post in the WhatsApp group so we can have a discussion on this specific point.
Because this is an Istagosthi. They not only are invited to agree, disagree, counter, or elaborate upon, but we're requesting them to do that. We're not trying to put forth a philosophy or an idea. We're putting up a notion which we could believe to be the truth and presenting in the Istagosthi, but we want to be challenged. We want to be told we're wrong, but not just to be told, prove it. Either that or end up agreeing with us. That's what Socrates would have expected.
Right.
Going.
So, that being said, Srila Prabhupada is the last Sampradaya Acharya for the golden age of Kali. Srila Prabhupada initiated thousands of disciples, and from that pool of disciples,
Hello?
yes, I'm thinking to how should I make that point. From that pool of disciples, there is no Acharya present.
Well, pretty obvious.
Yes. In addition, the Hare Krishna mantra is stated by so to be a Shaktavesh avatar, and that is the reason that you do not require an initiating guru to go back to Godhead. So this point here, why is this happening like this? Okay. 1 second.
Pretty heavy duty stuff, right?
Yeah. Shaktavesh avatar, yes, that was the Chaitanya Chaitamrita, the Hare Krishna mantra. Okay, so this Shaktavesh avatar being presented in the form of the Hare Krishna mantra, or it is the Shaktavesh avatar. So if someone presents this Hare Krishna mantra who is not a devotee, is it still considered Shaktavesh avatar?
Where did he hear it from?
Okay, where did he hear it from? Yes, that's the point.
I mean, practically no one is qualified to chant the Hare Krishna mantra because they're not chanting purely, because they're not pure devotees. But if you hear it from the source, if you're not, I think Prabhupada spoke that, or Bhaktisiddhanta said, chanting from the lips of non-devotees should be avoided, as much as milk touched by a serpent has poison effect. But I'm doubting that statement would have much basis anymore, since pretty much everyone, practically everyone who has a cell phone has heard the Hare Krishna mantra, either from Prabhupada or from someone initiated by Prabhupada.
So, okay. So someone,
in other words, it's working.
Right.
Before, when that statement was written, it could be understood that there were so many Hindu sects, or shall we say more complimentarily, post-Varnashram Dharma sects that refer to themselves as being Hindu, when they feel like groveling in front of the Muslims, that is. But and they would be presenting themselves as authoritative acharyas or whatnot. There's Krishna, there's so many, I mean, thousands, even perhaps millions in India of people that fancy themselves to be acharyas of the holy name. But the source has, but by now it's practically impossible not to have heard Prabhupada's chanting also. So I think we can say that although that statement stands strong and true, firm and true, that it doesn't have the same impact as it did back in the 1920s because of Prabhupada having delivered the holy name.
Jai. Okay, we're up to the third statement.
Well, keep going. I like your commentary, by the way. Keep going.
Yes. Initiation can be performed in a temple by the same personnel that perform the Shraddha ceremony. Shraddha ceremony is, this is the death ceremony, right? The Shraddha ceremony.
Yes, death.
Wedding and the Prashana ceremonies.
There's in Los Angeles, there are far more Shraddha ceremonies than wedding ceremonies. Far. Because the older ones everyone's dying off. But the people are not getting married at the same rate because of the same old people.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's an interesting point. People are dying off faster than they're getting married. That young people are getting married.
So if a guy, old guy is getting married, he can say, why don't we make this a package deal for the same donation that you're going to give the same pujari compensation? Why don't we combine this wedding ceremony and Shraddha ceremony so that you won't have to pay, no one has to pay for it in a couple of years when you die after your wedding.
Advanced bargaining. That's saving money.
A package deal. But that's just supposed to be funny.
What did you say? That is not supposed to be funny?
No, that is supposed to be funny.
Okay.
You're so old, the people getting married are so old that they might as well combine it with the Shraddha ceremony. And you can leave out the Anaprasana ceremony because they probably won't end up having kids.
Yes.
So just weddings and funerals, that's all. I'm just goofing around, but I think it's funny. I do, but maybe nobody.
It makes sense.
But anyway, keep going. Yeah, right, of course. But keep going. I like what you're doing. I really like your insights.
Yes, all which use basically the same Sanskrit mantras beginning with Apa Vitro Povitro Va.
Abhovitra Bovitra Va.
Either purified or unpurified.
Yes.
Jai.
Abhovitra Bovitra Va.
Okay.
At the beginning of every fire sacrifice, it's
Om
Prabhupada would say it.
Yes.
Because what he's really saying is, you guys are dirty scum from the street, but I'm going to initiate you, and then you'll be purified. So Bhavitra Bhavitrava means whether you're purified, which they're not, or unpurified, which they certainly were, and I still am. But Bhavitra Bhavitrava means we can proceed into the fire sacrifice with the very special mercy of this golden age of Kali, whereby you don't have to know what your gotra is. You don't have to know what your family lineage is. You don't have to be coming from a Brahmin family or even a Kshatriya family. You can just be a ordinary guy off the street, and that's who Prabhupada initiated. And he created a wonderful movement out of that.
This is just a joke, but you probably don't want to know what kind of background people are from anyways.
What did you say?
I said people probably don't want to reveal what kind of background they're from anyways. So it doesn't really matter what background they're from.
Yeah, that's true. Because in India, everyone's pretending to be from a different caste than they're from.
Yes. ISKCON was designed by.
Keep on going.
Yes, ISKCON was designed by Srila Prabhupada in 1970 to be a republic, with the GBC to be elected representatives like senators of the temple presidents who elected them. So that's so yes. Oh, I'd like to make a point here. In 1970, Srila Prabhupada gave the direction of management, and also in 1970, Richard Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard. What a coincidence, huh? Or was it 1971?
I don't know.
Yeah, that it happened either in 1970 or 1971. So,
but by creating the direction of management, Prabhupada created the salvation of the world.
yes,
Because it becomes an organism fueled not by the top people at the top, like the popes or cardinals. It was fueled by the common man saying, I wish to be common no longer. My living room, I'm taking all the stuffed animal heads off the wall, and I'm going to put up pictures of Krishna.
try.
And I'm going to have a cardboard box with a picture of Prabhupada on it, and some little photos of Radha and Krishna.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to chant Hare Krishna here. Every Wednesday, we're going to chant Hare Krishna, and I'll distribute fruit. And on the Sunday, you come and have a feast, just 2 days a week. And Sunday, you come for a feast, and I will cook as best I can, and you come, and we'll have kirtan and have everything. Class, kirtan, like that. On Wednesday, just class and kirtan and a little fruit, and full of fruit. That's how Prabhupada did it. And anyone could do that. You don't have to have an elaborate temple. Are we going on?
Yes.
What's that big black thing on the?
Okay. Yes, I'm just looking up the word republic in Prabhupada's archive. It comes up 14 times in Prabhupada's audio transcripts, and in his books comes up 11 times. In his correspondence, it comes up 3 times in letters. I just kind of was curious. So let me go back to the screen.
Really? Well, what does he say about republic?
Okay, let's go there. That's why I was. Let's see.
Because this word republic, if usable, if genuine, is going to transform the GBC.
Okay, Srila Prabhupada
into an elected group.
See, Srila Prabhupada is using the word republic in a Srimad Bhagavatam class, May 10th, 1973 in Los Angeles. Let's see how is he using this. Wow, he goes into elaborate detail. Wow, we got to read all this. Wow, okay. So,
well, we should probably do it. We're not on the class, but why not do this one?
Well, what did you say? Let's go back. Republic Party.
We should make a special class, a special Zoom call for the topic of Republic.
Yes.
Not tonight, but not, because we have the rest of this paper to go through. But why don't we read this one and see what it comes up with, whether it's favorable. Oh, you found it. Did you find the Republic?
Oh, yes, I did find the Republic here in the Bhakti.
What does he say?
Srila Prabhupada says, one second, where is it? He uses the word Republic Party. So there are many things going on. Agyana, this is Agyana. Philosophy means to intelligently darshana. The translation of philosophy means darshana. So Prabhupada is going into a technical, philosophical point of view, a Republic Party. So just like it's saying here, just like certainly in your country, the Democratic Party.
Oh, yeah, we're not looking for talking about the Republic.
Yeah. So in this context, is not
appropriate.
Yes.
Right.
So
because he's talking about political parties, not. It's like the Pledge of Allegiance. You know, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands. And so we're looking at republic as the structure of government.
Yeah, here it's being used by a governor. This republic is an independent state, part of Switzerland, and it has a reputation of being a great center of dialogue between all men of science, philosophy, and religion. This is interesting, huh?
Yes.
This republic is an independent state, part of Switzerland, and it has a reputation for being a great center of dialogue between all men of science, philosophy, and religion. That just applies to our GBC.
The governor is saying that?
Yes, the governor is saying that.
Yeah,
Srila
well,
Prabhupada, welcomed by the government Hotel de Villa, May 30th, 1974 in Geneva.
Very nice. Did Prabhupada comment on that or not?
Let's see what Prabhupada says. This is okay. Prabhupada did comment on it, and he said, "Can I speak in English?" So yes, he did comment on it, but this commentary was by the governor of Geneva.
Yeah. Oh, is this the same quote?
Yeah, this is the quote by the governor here. You can see here.
Yeah, no, that one, yes, it's excellent. That's exactly what we want to see. But we wanted to see if Prabhupada said something about that or agreed with it.
Prabhupada says, Prabhupada does speak on it, but he doesn't speak on that actual word republic. He goes into the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, you know.
Okay, well, let's do our research offline
and come back. Yes.
and get back and deal with it. I think it would be very good if somebody could do a deep research into Prabhupada's writing every time the word republic is mentioned, see if he describes something like the GBC as a desirable republic, or whether we just say it because it's what it is.
Yes.
We can say it. We don't have to have Prabhupada say it, but it'd be very interesting if we find out if Prabhupada says it.
Okay.
I mean,
so
our saying it does not disagree with Prabhupada, whether he said it republic or not. But apparently he said it a number of times. So let's get back to the text. Go ahead, read on.
Unwilling to be elected officials, the GBC has created an international, what's this word?
Totalitarian.
Yes. Totalitarian state. So what does this mean? How?
What, you know what is meaning totalitarian? Totalitarian means absolute rule from the top down.
Absolute rule from the top down.
Well, that's what they've done. I think they would agree.
Yeah, you know, if you want to do something, you have to get their approval instead of their blessings.
Well, yeah, it's sort of, I keep liking to compare it to the Vatican, the cardinals of the Catholic Church, but actually it's a good example, but it's weak compared to what Americans believe in, which is a republic.
Yeah, California Republic, they call it, or at least that's what's written on the flag. California
Republic. The word republic is the key to the United States Constitution.
All right.
Which is different than monarchy.
John.
Now, monarchy means material monarchy, not divine monarchy. We can say God is supreme, and we can follow Krishna in every respect, but that doesn't mean what we create societies that are like totalitarian, where you have priests or gurus or swamis that act like cardinals and control people grab people by the throat and control them, as the church did for considerable period of time.
Yes, yes.
And still does.
Yeah.
Okay, why not keep going?
Yes. Where was I? Unwilling to be elected officials. unwilling to be elected officials, the GBC has created an international. Oh, I read that part already. Sorry. They have.
You can read it.
Yes, they have given themselves the absurd power to appoint Kanishta Adhikari Acharyas in direct violation of the 5th verse of the Nectar of Instruction ordered by Rupa Goswami for instructions on how to give initiations acceptable by Lord Krishna in Krishna Loka. So yes, in that verse, Nectar of Instruction, verse 5, Prabhupada gives a detailed explanation on who can be an Diksha Guru.
Yes. Now, there is a thing I'd like to say, hinted at in this, and maybe it goes further later. The key to all of this is people are acting like little kids who have made a tent in the living room or are playing under the table while the adults talk above and they're underneath. They don't relate. The ISKCON temple does not relate to what does Krishna think about what we're doing here. You see, they are acting as though their material bodies, their material consciousness, purified and amplified and given divine and transcendental direction by Srila Prabhupada and the Shastras, they think that they can act independently of Krishna in Krishna Loka. Well, shall we say, the vast, like Prabhupada or Bhaktisiddhanta, is that he knows what Krishna likes in Krishna Loka because he's a resident himself at all times of Krishna Loka. It's not just that he came down and he took the elevator down to the basement where we are and he can't figure out how to get out of here. No, he's already on every floor. He's already at the top, coming down to lift us up, not coming down to encourage us to pull off some nonsense idea that we can do what we please and that Krishna somehow will like it. People don't even care if Krishna likes what they do. If they did care, they wouldn't do it. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Why would somebody do something that is so unlikely to please Krishna?
Yeah.
And then consider it. Bang, 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 clash, 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 clash with Mridangas and kartals. Do they not think that Lord Chaitanya, being Krishna and Radha and Krishna, knew how to play? Do they not know that Prabhupada has conducted how to play through the Sampradaya? He started with Thakur Bhaktivinoda and Prabhupada is the Sampradaya for all intents and purposes. Because they are directly deriving their potency from the source of the Sampradaya, which is Balaram, which is Lord Nityananda. So keep on going.
Yes, the word Kanishta Adhikari Acharyas, Kanishta Acharyas in our Sampradaya are liberated souls, not voted in by the GBC or broken by the GBC or demoted by the GBC.
Stand back and look at that and ask, what do you think that the residents of Krishna Loka would think of our doing that?
Yeah.
Just because we vote doesn't make it real.
Yeah.
Just because we say we want to have an unelected GBC, we had an Acharya who gave us the instruction. We had better follow the instruction or run like hell for the exit because we're going to get clobbered.
Yeah.
This will not go unnoticed at the time of death. Go ahead.
Okay. Whatever Kanishta Adhikari members of ISKCON create from the bodily conscious material desires, too, dominate and be dominated with the hope of divine compensation for their having been dominated has no standing in Krishna Loka.
Well, that's it, what we've been talking about. If someone takes initiation because he's intimidated by the ISKCON initiator, and the initiator is dominant enough to be able to intimidate the disciple, how does that play in Krishna Loka?
Intimidate a disciple? Or what do you mean?
Well, why not just read that sentence again, take into account what I just said?
Dominate and be dominated with the hope of divine compensation for their having been dominated has no standing in Krishna Loka. So a Kanishta Adhikari Acharya, so-called guru, gets a prospective disciple, and then what does he do? He dominates him, and then obviously it has no standing in Krishna Loka because they're not qualified to be in that position anyways. So it has no standing.
Yeah, if they do it, it's sort of like rats and cats chasing mice under the table. It has nothing to do with the society of the home.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Krishna, back to home, back to God, it means Krishna Loka is our home. Our home. The way life is lived in Krishna Loka is the way we are meant to live in our home. Anything else is either an attempt to achieve that platform, or worse, as we're discussing here, an attempt to obfuscate, an attempt to cover up the truth of what home is like, to make it seem as though this disaster could be compared to home.
This disaster, you mean what's happening in the society?
Well, look at Kirtanananda. He certainly had plenty of followers. He certainly intimidated plenty of people. And he had plenty of people that he intimidated and intimidated others.
Yeah.
But what is the result? What would it play like in Krishna Loka?
It has no standing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it does have a standing. It's rejected.
Yes, it does have standing. It's rejected. It has no standing and rejected.
Yeah. Well, keep going.
Krishna will only accept.
And feel free to talk as much as you like about each point that's being made, because these are very condensed points.
Yeah. Yes.
You could talk for half an hour on each sentence.
Yes.
So cut it down to 15 minutes and let's get going.
Yes. Krishna will only accept acts of worship or service from those who strictly follow each and every injunction and instruction given to them by Srila Prabhupada. Joy. Krishna will only accept acts of worship or service from those who strictly follow each and every injunction and instruction given to them by Srila Prabhupada. So one might ask, Prabhupada gave so many instructions, how do I know if this is actually bona fide? That's the missionary.
Well, yes. That sentence isn't really perfect, because I meant to talk about like the direction of management.
Okay.
Biggies.
Okay. You're talking about institutional standards which are set for life.
Or any other standard. Supposing a man is a Kanishta Adhikari, how can he imagine becoming a guru? How can he imagine?
How can he imagine being a guru?
So Prabhupada has made it very clear in his writing, if people bother reading it, unchanged books, or even the changed books, that the guru, I don't know what the good changed books say, maybe they don't, but the unchanged books will clearly establish that the guru must be an Uttama Adhikari. So that was the point very strongly taken by Thakur Bhaktivinoda in his writing Jaiva Dharma. Jaiva Dharma means the duty of us, the jivas. Well, keep going.
Okay, this includes only dancing.
Don't hesitate to say several things
Oh,
of
yes.
different angles of body sentence, you know?
Yes. This
Go
includes
ahead.
holy dancing, as he taught, chanting the Krishna conscious melodies, kartal beats, and mridanga beats gifted by him to his even to even his earliest disciples. So Prabhupada taught them how to do things in a Vaishnava standard that must be followed. Beats, kartals, mridanga, because all these things were foreign to the Western disciples, at least seemingly foreign. He taught them all these things, and they should stick to that standard which was taught to them.
Yes, now we can say foreign. We can say foreign too, but it was not foreign to Indians. They know mridangas, they know kartals, they know how to dance, they know how to chant Hare Krishna, they know all that. Ramakrishna was big on that. The Bowls of Bengal that started the hippie movement in the Haight-Ashbury via Allen Ginsberg, they knew it all very well. The problem is, when we picked it up, we then started taking in their pollution of the kirtan because we liked the way how fancy it sounded.
Oh, the contamination that you guys picked up by trying to make it.
Well, yeah, if you the lips of a chanting from the lips of non-devotees was what has happened to our movement.
Mm.
Bollywood.
Bollywood.
Well,
You
keep going. What?
you mentioned Bollywood, yes.
Yes. And so, I mean, they have taken over the theatrics of what used to be extremely potent and beautiful theatrical performances in India. And now it's just men and women pretending to almost kiss and stuff like that. That was the same thing.
Come and pretend. Yes, that's funny. You said some people, last time you said some people use the microphone like they're having sex with the microphone. That was funny.
Yeah, well, yeah. There's one devotee who, that's his specialty in Los Angeles.
Okay. Okay. Where was I? Anyone who wants to advance by doing things their own way will not please Krishna, and their actions will not be accepted by Lord Krishna as pure devotion or service. Anyone who wants to advance by doing their own thing, or own way, will not please Krishna, and the action. Okay, so this would mean that rejecting Rupa Goswami's instruction that only an Uttamadhikari can, from Krishna Lokan, can initiate. Yes, that's why the movement is in.
And in terms of ISKCON, it's clear that there is no Uttamadhikari beyond Prabhupada. And I like to say that he is the last Sampradaya Acharya, meaning the last Acharya that descended from Krishna Loka to take his rightful Hasan or seat in the Vaishnava Sampradaya after Bhaktisiddhanta. I mean, who can sit in after that? Bhagavan? I mean, who can do it? They all thought they could, and they made pictures and even murtis of their guru, but look what happened to the guru.
Tell the story about Bhagavan in 5 minutes.
Well, what about him?
No, you met him. And Bhagavan was a successor Acharya back in 1977. He lasted till what, the 80s or 90s? Narayan Prabhu?
I have no idea.
Okay, but recently we met him at the San Francisco Rath Yatra. What was he doing? How did the conversation go with him?
Oh, we had a very warm, friendly conversation. His personal Shakti was quite intense. It was quite intact. And the fact that he had spent so many years preaching had left him with a very substantial sense of being. He didn't look like a fallen angel like Satan or something of that sort. He had the benefits of it, but he was walking his dog.
Mm.
So, I asked him, "Oh, is this now going to be your guru? This God?" But anyhow, what can I say? Bhagavan rendered so much devotional service, but he tried to make it about him, and he was not an Uttamadhikari. So even though he did a nice show, like children putting on a play, oh, here's the guru, here's the disciples, here's the gopis, here's Krishna. You can do that in a play, but if you think it's for real and it's not a play, then you're in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes. So that's what you're talking about here. By not following, will not please Krishna. Will not be accepted. So Bhagavan's devotional service, it was accepted by Lord Krishna, or?
Of course. Why wouldn't it be?
Okay. But when he tried to act in the capacity that Srila Prabhupada was acting, that part was not accepted as pure devotional service.
Most of it wasn't.
Your phone is breaking up now.
I mean, the part where he was actually teaching people to be a pujari, where he was getting land, where he was getting cows, that was accepted. But the part where he wanted to be an Uttama Adhikari without even knowing what an Uttama Adhikari actually was not accepted. Easy, no?
So in this sense, people who did disobey Srila Prabhupada, parts of their devotional service are accepted by Krishna. It's not like it's dire.
Nobody who has taken initiation from Prabhupada can say, you cannot say he has completely disobeyed Prabhupada. If he had, then he would be slaughtering animals in the temple, and that wouldn't have lasted very long.
Then why take this hard stand?
If somebody takes Diksha and then starts slaughtering animals in the temple room, that would not last long. But if a person does everything according to the Kanistha Adhikari standard, then in spite of his flaws and faults, he's considered to be a Kanistha Adhikari. The question is, as Prabhupada said about me, you're in the process, but it may take some time. And Bhagavan is still in the process. He's not like a Lucifer. And I'm not even sure that the Lucifer story is a genuine story either. But he's not evil, but put it this way, whoever took initiation from him as a Diksha Guru, when he dies and the disciple dies, the disciple may find himself, like Chidananda, struggling day and night in his next birth to deliver his Guru for the result of having pretended to be able to accept the karma of the disciples that he had. Not pretended to accept the karma, he does accept the karma, but pretending that the disciple is delivered by his accepting the karma, he assumes that it goes up the line to Srila Prabhupada. And it would if Srila Prabhupada, if Bhagavan had been a pure devotee, like Prabhupada was to Bhaktisiddhanta. The sins go up through the Sampradaya for sure, but not if there's a lid on your guru's devotional creeper. And the lid is Kanistha Adhikari. And the lid is also Madhyama Adhikari, although it's a lighter lid, more translucent one. The only lidless condition is the Uttama Adhikari. And so we cannot put anyone down for having served Krishna. We can't say you're evil. We can't say you're a fallen angel or anything like that. That's, we tend to try to get too Christian on these things. Eternal damnation type thing. It's not like that. There is no eternal damnation.
Yeah, but
It
then
may-
then sometimes you say because they disobeyed Srila Prabhupada's instruction, they're not disciples. So how can we give them such a red card?
Oh, they are their disciples, or they're fallen disciples.
Fallen disciples. Okay, let's.
Sure, they're disciples. But if you disagree with the pure devotee, insofar as you disagree, you're not a disciple.
Okay. In
So
so
even
far,
the
you
GBC,
disagree.
the people that are GBCs now that rejected the direction of management, are they devotees? Yes. Are they disciples of Prabhupada? Barely.
Barely. Okay.
Because by directly disobeying the written order of the spiritual master, which you co-sign, you are basically relinquishing your being a disciple of Srila Prabhupada.
That makes sense. That gives more clarity. So,
Now, does that mean that you do not make advancement by chanting Hare Krishna? Of course you make advancement chanting Hare Krishna. You see what I mean?
yes.
But does that mean that you are an acharya, that you're an uttamadhikari? No, quite the opposite. It means that by pretending to be an uttamadhikari, you are bringing out misfortune for yourself and others. Not by chanting, not by doing the puja, not by anything, simply by the pretense or the willingness to commit the offense of pretending to be an uttama adhikari when you're actually a kanistha adhikari with feathers in your hair.
Yeah.
So they don't know. They can't tell the difference. When
Yeah.
I brought that point up in Canada to Gopal Krishna Maharaj, because he was reading from Jaiva Dharma, where it was clearly mentioned Kanistha Madhyam Uttamadhikari. And I hopefully and optimistically raised my hand. He acknowledged me, of course, being very senior. I am. And he said yes. And I said, does this mean that we are now going to be developing an understanding of who is Kanistha, who is Madhyam, and who is Uttamadhikari for the development of our advancement in Krishna consciousness? Not a bad question that I asked. And he got freaked out, and he went into a whole thing deconstructing the Madhyam, Uttama, and Kanistha Adhikari standards, and ended up saying, if people think about these things, they will cause disharmony because everyone will be looking at each other trying to determine, oh, is this an Uttamadhikari or is this a Madhyam Adhikari? He said, better we become humble devotees of Krishna and chant Hare Krishna. And the entire room of devotees in Saranagati turned at me and glared for me to have tried to create divisiveness in the ISKCON movement.
Well, the next.
But the thing is, I didn't bring that up, I don't think. But the obvious thing to bring up is Uttamadhikari, Madhyamadhikari, Kanistha Adhikari. How many? Are there any Uttamadhikaris at all? Why worry about being compared to one if there aren't any? If there's any Madhyamadhikaris, I would love to meet one, but where are they? And are there any Kanistha Adhikaris? Well, half of them are not even Kanistha Adhikaris completely. They're at the low end of Kanistha Adhikari, not the high end of Kanistha Adhikari. Therefore, what the heck, Gopal Krishna Maharaj, are you talking about?
Yeah.
But he just wanted to hide. Then later on the porch, we were standing, and then he came up to me and sort of said shyly and a bit deferentially, he said, "You're not a Ritvik, are you?" And I looked at him, and I was saying, what does this have to do with Ritvik? But now I understand that Ritviks are the ones who are saying that the ISKCON gurus are not Uttamadhikaris.
But
so that's so stupid. Why do you have to put yourself, paint the N-word all over your face, simply to say what is in Rupa Goswami's writing? You should be a top standing Brahmin Pujari and say that, not just an outcast outsider. So that's where my argument with people like Paranjan and Yasoda and all the other so-called Ritvaks comes in, is that they are busy creating a party of opposition rather than trying to point out. Anyone can say, what is a Ritvik? I mean, what is an Uttamadhikari? Where is the sin? Where is the offense in suggesting that we can discuss these things, particularly in Istagosthi?
Yes.
Why not? Why not? Is there more to go?
Yes, a few more sentences. Let's see. Okay, we're right here, so people can see. No one will be cast down back into the material pool simply for their stupid neglect of the order of Srila Prabhupada. No one will be cast down back into the material pool simply for their stupid neglect of the order of Srila Prabhupada. What do you mean by this? Cast down. Cast down means what?
Well, that's sort of like borrowing from Christianity, that Satan was cast down and therefore lives a hideous life of evil.
Oh, okay. So you're saying that this Kanishta...
No. In other words, if a person, in other words, the devotees in the temples right now that are initiating and being initiated and all that stuff that we're so familiar with, they're not going to be considered to be fallen. They're just going to be considered to be incomplete. They don't understand certain very important points, but they're not ready to understand them, obviously. If they were ready to understand them, they'd be on our Zoom call right now. We'd be talking about it, as we are. So
Yes.
we can't say that they're bad or they're fallen or they're evil or sinful. If you're sinful, it's because you've committed a sin. That means breaking the regulated principles. So no, we're not going there. Where we're going here is that nobody is cast down from the state of grace for not understanding everything. What is the state of grace? I mean, it's easiest for us to look at it as Christians or whatever. But the point is, the state of grace in Krishna consciousness is kanistha adhikari.
Yeah, that's where it starts. Yes.
Transcendental to material energy. The kanistha adhikari transcends the four material energies. You see? So the kanistha adhikari, by being stupid, his greatest sin is stupidity. And what is stupidity? It means that I don't understand something that's as plain as the nose in your face. Well, how can you imagine that a kanistha adhikari can become a guru? Well, if you're a GBC, apparently you can. That's stupidity. That's stupid. And it also means you are being very neglectful of following the actual stated words of the Acharya. You're sort of like playing games with the Shastras.
Yeah.
So is that cast down? No, cast down would be if the kanistha adhikaris got a guru that convinced them all to become cannibals. That would be cast down. But to follow all the regs and chant Hare Krishna, dress in saffron or whatever color, and worship the deity and do everything badly, that's not cast down. That's simply stupid, neglectful, and neophyte. The neophyte is, the kanistha adhikari is the neophyte stage. And he can become almost completely non-neophyte if he reaches the top of kanistha adhikari. Like, as I like to give the example of a pujari who is
Yes.
worshiping the deities, and he's weeping because the deities look at him, and they do. I've seen the deities look at me and others and everyone. They look, they get a glance, they can pick you up with their eyes. I mean, and you can start weeping because it's so beautiful an experience. But that's not yet that's not yet Madhyamadikari. That's still high-end Kanistadikari. Madhyamadikari, you begin to develop a relationship with Krishna as he is, not as he is portrayed in the form of the deity.
Mm. Mm.
Well, okay, so keep going.
Okay, 1 second. Let me go back to the screen. So we're at the last 3 sentences. And they can, however, expect to remain as neophyte Kanishta Adhikaris for many births to come. They
Okay,
can,
that's what I meant, you see.
yes,
They're not cast down, but they can expect to remain Kanistadikaris for many births to come.
yes. Then you further explain.
Somewhere
Semi-
between the bottom and the top of Kanistadikari is where
Yeah.
they will be.
Yes,
If they're stupid, then they're closer to the bottom. If they're brilliant, they're closer to the top.
yes. Semi-purified material body after semi-purified material body, birth after birth. They too will go to Krishna Loka someday.
Yeah.
Jai. So I asked this question to an ISKCON guru and he replied. So I'd like to switch over to that screen. So
Yes.
I will show you what he says and how he responded to these questions that I had. So let me switch over to the screen.
So you discussed some of the points in this posting.
Yes, this same concepts that we're discussing here.
Yeah. The real trick is the language.
Yes, yes, the
Because if
language.
we say you're supposed to elect the GBC, they will say, "Oh no, they're not. Prabhupada said you are. He changed his mind."
Yeah,
What are you going to do after that? But if you say Prabhupada wanted a republic, how can they get out of that one?
yeah.
If either he did or did not want a republic, and
Yes.
either we have or do not have a republic right now.
Right. Right.
So if he said, well, why didn't Prabhupada insist? Why did the devotees insist not to? But he knew that in our own lifetimes it could come back to be purified, that the GBC will be representatives in a republican form of republic concept of government. One last thing I'll say before that is Jefferson was asked, Mr. Jefferson, what sort of government have you given us? And he said, a republic, ma'am, if you can keep it. So we didn't even get it far enough to keep it. It's there, it's eternally there, it's transcendentally there, because the direction of management is a transcendental document created by the pure devotee of the Lord. You could use that like the Shroud of Turin. It is the most important document. All of he said is important, but that is super, super important. And so a republic, if you can keep it, well, that's material. This republic will be kept because Prabhupada is not dead. Now go ahead. Ramachandra?
Oh, yes, I'm here now, Prabhu. Yes, so I was just loading things up on my
Oh, I see.
to share. So here we go. Where is it? So this is this Swami here, Bir Krishna Maharaj.
That's pure Krishna?
Yeah, this is Bir Krishna.
He looks like a insurance salesman. Well,
Yeah.
maybe he thinks he is. He's selling insurance of going back to Godhead.
Yes. So I asked him this question via audio. I'll play it so everyone can hear. Let me see. Oh, I got to turn on the sound. 1 second. Okay, how am I going to do this? 1 second. Okay, give me 1 second.
joy. So it'd be very interesting to see what Krishna says, because we are presenting the truth, simple truth. It's not even spiritual truth, it's just truth. Perfect reasoning, perfect authentication. It could be a law. I mean, it doesn't have to be spiritual. It could be a material law that is Prabhupada wanted is going to be a republic. In fact, it would have been a material law if it had gone further, meaning legal in the state of California or New York. So what's happening? It won't play? Well, you could read what Krishna responds, right? Or did you catch it? I saw the arrow went up. What's happening? No sound.
Oh, here you go. My microphone was muted. Did you hear the question I asked him and how he replied? This is my question to Bir Krishna. Do you want to hear the question?
You can play it.
Okay. Swami says the three levels of adhikar, the Kanishta adhikari, the Madhyam adhikari, and the Uttam adhikari. And there, Rupa Goswami says that the Kanishta adhikari and Madhyam adhikari can initiate disciples, but the disciples must be on the same level. And he further goes to say that because of the insufficient guidance of the Kanishta adhikari and Madhyam adhikari, they cannot advance further than their guru. Therefore, Prabhupada says initiation must be accepted from an Uttam adhikari. So in this regard, my question is, in ISKCON, the gurus, which you are one and there are various others, if we look at history, what adhikari are they initiating in? And if they're initiating as a Madhyam adhikari or Kanishta adhikari, or if they're Uttam adhikaris, where Srila Prabhupada gives a prescription for the Kanishta and Madhyam to initiate, but the problem here comes insufficient guidance. So can we say that, well, Prabhupada is an Uttam adhikari, and then he makes two philosophical points here, and then he gives the result of this Kanishta and Madhyam, insufficient guidance. Then he goes to say that the Uttam adhikari must initiate. So what is your realization in regards? Srila Prabhupada is an Uttam adhikari. Who is your Diksha Guru? Are you initiating as a Kanishta adhikari, Madhyam adhikari, or Uttam adhikari? Or it doesn't matter. We take shelter of any of the ISKCON gurus. They can be either Kanishta adhikari, Madhyam adhikari, and the liberated soul, Acharya, that will help you advance as Srila Prabhupada. So that sounds like borderline Ritva.
Is that you or is that dear Krishna?
That's me.
And then you get insufficient guidance. Then who is the liberated soul that is going to help the disciple go back to Godhead? Because obviously the Kanishta adhikari and Madhyam adhikari, they're not situated in their rasa with Krishna. So what do you have to say about this? I'd like to hear your realization. Hare Krishna, thank you very much.
So this is what he said right here.
What's all the writing?
Oh, this is the verse. This
I see.
The
okay,
next.
no, let's see, what does he say?
Okay. Here's what he says. His reply was very, very weak. And here he says, even Lord Chaitanya took care of a dog. Yes, but we give Prabhupada's guidance to someone's advancement is unlimited. You see what he's saying? Even Lord Chaitanya took care of a dog. I don't know where the dog comes in my question. I was
Probably through the door.
through the door. Yes, but we give Prabhupada's guidance so someone's advancement is unlimited. What does this mean by yes, but we give Prabhupada's guidance so someone's advancement is unlimited?
What they're saying, what he's saying is, by quoting Prabhupada, we're giving them Prabhupada.
Oh,
So,
that's what
so
he's
where's the question of Diksha? When you take on the karma, not Prabhupada, but you take on the karma of those you initiate. So sure, you're giving, but do you have to be a guru to do that? What he said there could be done by anyone. In fact, when I joined the movement, started living in the temple, Vishnu John took me aside and was reading to me from what he called the Srimad Bhagavatam, and he did his best to help me understand what it was, even though he was only 6 months before me in the movement. So that can be done by any advanced senior devotee like Mr. John 6 months before me, you see.
So Bir Krishna is actually not needed for what he's doing. I can do that. My daughter can do that. If she knows.
It is needed what he's doing. He should do it. But why does that make him a guru?
Yes. Why? Yes.
Why does he perform the abhovitra bhavitra? That means purified or unpurified. I accept your karma for into me. This is what that means. The initiation ceremony means I accept your karma into me. And if I am not a pure devotee, I am not going to be able to burn up your karma. I'll just stick it onto my karma, what's left of it. And while you stick your karma onto my karma, and then his and his and his, and like Chaipataka with 40,000 karmas stuck onto him, and a face grimace on his face to prove it, wire sticking out of his mouth to prove it, that you accept so many people's karma. What will you do in your next lifetime? Except have to, insofar as you're not in Uttamadhikari, which means the pure devotee, insofar as you're not a Madhyamadhikari, which is progressing to become a pure devotee, if you are Kanistha Adhikari and you give initiation and you take on the karma of all of those people that you initiate, in Vajrapataka since 40,000 of them, then when you die, you take their karma with you, and unfortunately for them, they follow you to your next birth. Why not? Why? Because you accepted them. Like when you get married in the karma, according to planets and everything like that, if you get married and you have children, you take on the karma of your wife and your children.
Who takes that karma? The husband takes, or the husband and wife both take?
The husband takes.
Oh wow.
Yeah, the husband is like Vishnu. The wife worships Vishnu. The children worship the wife who worships Vishnu.
So we can say that an unchaste wife, or a wife that doesn't respect the husband, she's going to incur great sinful reactions. Or he takes on her sinful reactions. No, he takes on the sinful reactions. He does that
of his wife.
Yes, he takes that on. But if the wife is disobedient, in a sense where
that will give her the reaction also.
Yeah, will
supposing a man as the king has a prime minister, and the prime minister steals or murders, he loses his prime minister, and at the same time the prime minister is hanged.
Right.
But it's his karma because he made the man the prime minister.
Yes.
He took on when you get married, you take on. Why do women look so eager to get married? They want someone to take on their karma.
I see.
That's what that look in their eye is.
Look in the eyes.
Get it seriously. It's not just that she thinks you're sexy. What does she mean by sexy? If she thinks you're sexy and you have sex with her and you have a child, you take on both their karma.
The son.
And if you're not thinking nicely when you're having sex, the karma could be of a demon that you take as a child. And you take on the karma of the demon. And the demon can actually destroy your whole family tree. I met someone who became a devotee. Where was I? I forget where I was. I was in maybe Washington, D.C. or Boston or something of that sort. A guy described how he took birth in a family that was wealthy, prosperous, pious, and everything. And he, just because of who he wasn't trying to do this, and he became a devotee. I don't know if he still is, but he destroyed the entire family tree. Everyone alive became destroyed financially, morally, everything. He destroyed everything.
Wow.
So you have to be careful when you have sex.
Mm-hmm.
It may be fun, but you may end up with someone that will destroy your life. So that's what we do. But we are all devotees, and so we're all going to go back to Godhead. And if we made big mistakes, we take a bad birth in our next lifetime because of something we did or someone we're karmically responsible for did, then that's what we do. But we keep on making progress, following in the exact footsteps of Srila Prabhupada, whether as an ape, as a human, as a demigod, as a rat, somehow, but we keep following in the footsteps of Srila Prabhupada.
Okay, so back to this discussion with His Holiness Krishna Maharaj.
Yeah, keep going.
So then he further goes to say in the second message here that I highlighted, the operative phrase is insufficient guidance. Prabhupada is giving the guidance. You see what he's saying? The operative phrase is insufficient guidance. Prabhupada is giving guidance.
Duh. Yeah, no kidding. He is. But why does he get in the middle?
Yes, why these people get in the middle, right?
Yeah, what are they offering to be worthy of the money, the respect, the worship, whatever, But what are they doing? What are they doing? The holy name is already delivered everyone. I mean, if you're a guru and you're ISKCON guru and you're saying chant Hare Krishna, you've already heard it. They're already going back to Godhead. All you can do is guide them, but you could guide them as a senior godbrother or god sister. Why do you have to be a guru to guide them? So if Prabhupada is guiding, then what's the problem? Let Prabhupada do the guiding. Well, who's going to guide them to Prabhupada? You are. Oh, yeah, that's why I'm a guru. No, you don't have to be a guru. All you need to be is a senior godbrother. All you need to be is a senior devotee. And everyone will respect you. Everyone will honor you. But you don't have to be the big question for Bear Krishna is, yes, but what motivates you, Bear Krishna, to take on the karma of those people you initiate? If Prabhupada were directly guiding them, as you suggest that he does, he would take on their karma. Why do you want to take on their karma? Just to spare Prabhupada from taking on their karma? That's very nice, but it's certainly going to put you in a pretty bad situation.
So then Maharaj says,
that's what the Tamil term Ritvic people, what he was saying, we want to initiate in behalf of you because we don't want you to take on more karma because you're already ill. Of course, Prabhupada taking on karma came with the territory. The karma that he hadn't bargained for was being poisoned.
Okay.
And you can say, well, did he deserve to be poisoned? Did Jesus deserve to be crucified? I mean, he took on the karma of the poisoners. That's pretty damn munificent, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Isn't that a magnificent gesture to take on the karma of your murderer?
Yeah.
Well, they suffer themselves, of course, but they're not going to be cast into some endless pit of fire and brimstone hell.
So let's go back to
Or
this.
if they are, they'll come out again.
Yes. So then he goes on to say, Bir Krishna Maharaj, I'm
You mean he's
initiating.
got a big enough shovel to dig a bigger grave? Go ahead, dear Krishna.
I am initiating as Prabhupada's rep, as Prabhupada was initiating as his guru's rep. That's the miracle of disciplic succession. I am initiating as Prabhupada's rep, as Prabhupada was initiating as his guru's representative. That's the miracle of disciplic succession.
That is the miracle of the disciplic succession. But in order to be the rep of an Uttama Adhikari, you must be an Uttama Adhikari. So if you are the rep of an Uttama Adhikari and you're not an Uttama Adhikari, then you're a con artist, you're a cheater. You're presenting yourself as an Uttama Adhikari, you're accepting the worship as an Uttama Adhikari. You may think that by you being worshipped, the Prabhupada is being worshipped, which to some degree is absolutely true, because the people that worship you don't think that you look that gorgeous. They worship you because they think that's their connection to Prabhupada. But are you pure or as Prabhupada? And who's going to be the rep after you?
Yeah, that's a good question. Who's going to be a representative after you? I never thought of that.
Well, that's what we were presenting also to Krishna Balaram. It's great that you have all these credentials from mantras that you've memorized and family and Gotra and everything like that in Vrindavan. You're so situated. Got it. But who's going to follow you?
Yeah. Oh,
by that time, everybody in Vrindavan will be listening to, watching Bollywood movies and not caring about mantras.
So after he said that is the miracle of disciplic succession, I further asked two more audio questions to Maharaj.
You did. Go for it.
So, if I understand this right, Maharaj, the representative, he cannot be a pure devotee. But here Prabhupada is saying directly that one must be a pure devotee. So this is where the conviction rises, Uttamadhikari. So if someone is not an Uttamadhikari and they're representatives, who's taking that person back to Godhead? You, the representative, or is it Srila Prabhupada who's the Uttamadhikari? I'm just asking a technical question.
More painful would be to ask who's taking on the karma of the initiated devotee.
Yes. I should have asked that question, but I asked. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, who's taking back? Well, it's a good question, but he can probably. How did he answer?
Okay, I asked another question, and then he answers that. So let me play this other question.
Side note, which you already know, Maharaj, is the disciplic succession consists of acharyas and pure devotees. So when we talk about the disciplic succession, it's no doubt these people are Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, 6 Goswamis, they're acharyas, nitya, siddha, devotees. So there's no question of them not being Prabhupada's representative. So the ISKCON system of gurus and disciples, on what adhikar are they initiating? Kanishta, Madhyam, or Uttamadhikari. We already know Srila Prabhupada's position. Uttamadhikari found Acharya, just like, Rupa Goswami. He's also a founder Acharya. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, founder Acharya. So like this, is the role of the ISKCON guru just a functionary role for the institution? Which means that anyone who reads Srila Prabhupada's books is getting the same guidance that you can give, or anyone else. Maybe
this is you. This is you.
Guidance.
This is me.
Okay.
because of your experience and your years in Krishna consciousness.
So then Maharaj says to my two questions, Prabhupada said that if one is strictly following, he is a pure devotee and acts accordingly. The devotee is liberated by the entire disciplic succession, Krishna. Personal guidance is required according to time, place, and circumstance. That is why Shiksha is more important than Diksha. Witness Vipin Vihari Goswami and Bhakti Vinod Thakur, and then Jagannath Das Babaji and Bhakti Vinod Thakur. You see it?
Yeah.
Prabhupada said that if one is following strictly, he is pure devotee and acts accordingly.
How strict is strict?
Yeah. How strict is
Strictly
strict?
what? That he takes a bath every day? Is that strict? That he puts on tilak? Is that strict? I mean, what's the strict part?
Yeah.
How strict is strict?
He's kind of dodging the question. You can see.
Well, he's giving you the GBC answer.
He's giving the GBC answer.
Yeah. That's why it's, I think, very fruitful to ask, do you accept the karma?
Yes, that's my next question.
And if you're not a pure devotee, are you aware that you cannot transfer your karma up to disciplic succession unless you're transparent via medium, which means uttama adhikari? And you could also ask him, do you have any examples of anywhere in the Vaishnava Sampradaya that persons that were not uttama adhikaris became acharyas? And how many of the acharyas in our disciplic line are, as you described, strictly following, but are not uttama adhikaris themselves?
Yes, yes.
Easy, right?
Easy, very easy. So,
So if you have so many people in the disciplic succession, which one are you going to say is just doing his best the way you're doing your best? And how many of them are actually transparent via media?
all of them are trying their best. None of them are transparent via medium, except Srila Prabhupada.
If you're not a transparent via medium, how can you be an acharya in the disciplic line?
Yes, yes.
Because an example which I'm fond of giving is if you have like a camera lens or a telescope, it doesn't just have one lens at the end and one lens at the beginning. Like on a camera, like a zoom lens, you have, for Zoom calls, you have maybe 6 or 7 very highly refined lenses between where the camera hooks in and where the camera draws in the image via light, right?
Right.
Now, what if one of those lenses is not completely transparent?
Yes.
What sort of image will you end up with?
Yes, yes.
So how can you say that you're doing, you may look at it from the angle of vision that you're taking, that you can refine lenses between where the camera hooks in and where the camera draws in the image via light, right? Right. Now, what if one of those lenses is not completely transparent?
Yes.
What sort of image will you end up with?
You'll end up with a distorted image, and nothing will make sense.
Or foggy image.
Foggy image, yes, yes.
Or if one of the lenses has a crack in it, then you end up with a distorted image, as you said.
Yeah. So this is precisely the problem. People don't. Is Vir Krishna expecting that people are not intelligent, or?
No, they're expecting them to be Judeo-Christians.
Oh, that's what they're expecting.
Yeah, they're expecting them. Most of them are Catholics. So he's expecting them to be Catholics.
Huh.
What is a Catholic? You have people, I mean, if you look at the history of the popes in the Catholic Church, it's blood-curdling.
Mm, mm,
And in fact, I was reading today a little bit about Ivan the Terrible, and he rejected, they wanted to create a merger between the Greek Orthodox Church and the Roman Catholic, and he refused to, even though he was a blood-curdling monster himself, he refused to do it because he was very theological. He refused to do it because he said the popes are so corrupt. They're doing so many blood-curdling things. They're having sex, they're stealing, they're robbing, they're doing all sorts of bad things, and still they're the popes.
mm,
No
mm.
one says you're not the pope. You can do that. If you're a king, you can do things like that, if according to the divine right of kings. But as a pope, you cannot do that. The pope has to be pure. But because Constantine created an empire where the pope was the Caesar, you say the man who's qualified to be Caesar, a pope, has to also be a Caesar. And if he is a Caesar, meaning the top guy in the hierarchy of Roman law, Roman culture, then he's going to be a pretty blood-curdling guy at sometimes.
Mm, mm.
That you don't expect that from our Vaishnava Sampradaya.
Jai.
In fact, the popes and the scholars and the Christian scholars looking at the Vaishnava Sampradaya would probably pity us because they're so limp and weak. They just sit there and chant, you know?
Mm, mm.
They don't understand the actual potency of the Vaishnava. And they don't know anything about the actual potency of God or Krishna.
Okay.
They
Okay.
do know the potency of a pope that is quite capable of pedophilia, child molestation, murder, having kids. Like the pope that, well, I forget the Pope Julius II, I think it was, that commissioned Michelangelo to paint the Sistine Chapel, one of the greatest works of art ever commissioned, and painted by a homosexual that never, ever, 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 ever took a bath because he simply believed the water would destroy everything about him. But he used pure pigments and the very finest fresco techniques. When Julius went off to fight, he was fighting other Italians. That's when the Roman Empire, when the Catholic Church was losing ground rapidly, and he went off to. Before he went into battle, he went to visit his daughter and her husband, who were nobility, because they had a child. He wanted to come and give a papal blessing to the child. Can you imagine? And there he is going out fighting Catholics. All the people he fought from Venice and Venice, where else? What's it? I forget. A whole bunch of little Catholic kingdoms. He went out to fight with them, to kill them and dominate them and force them to bow down at his feet. That doesn't sound like an acharya.
Sounds like an
Sounds like a
demon.
It sounds like a Caesar or a king or an emperor with delusions of grandeur.
Okay, so we're coming up to the 2-hour mark, so let's end it with this here.
Yes.
So then Bir Krishna Maharaj says, personal guidance is required.
Oh, there's more?
Just a little bit more, maybe 2-3 minutes more.
Let's go for it.
Then he says, let me read the whole thing again. Prabhupada said that if one is following strictly, he is a pure devotee and acts accordingly. We talked about this point. The devotee is liberated by the entire disciplic succession, Krishna. Then he says, personal guidance is required according to time, place, and circumstance. That is why shiksha is more important than diksha.
Is that the end of it?
Yes.
Well, we know that Prabhupada, if he's paying attention to Prabhupada's writing, he says diksha and shiksha have to be on the same platform, and both of them must be residents of Krishna Loka.
Yes.
if he rejects Prabhupada's writing, then what sort of a purified guy is he? He's not. How can you disagree with the disciplic succession?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's disagreeing.
Yes, he is disagreeing. He's disagreeing.
Yeah, so that can be pointed, if it's pointed out to him, is right here in black and white, it says Diksha Shiksha have to both be residents of Krishna Loka. Are you a resident of Krishna Loka? Let's see. Let's check your passport.
Right. And then I said, I made the point that we discussed today that as much as they follow, they are pure devotees. If they follow 1%, they are, 1% pure, not 100%. So he's saying that anyone who's following strictly is a pure devotee. I comment, as good as a pure devotee, not that they are pure devotees. What I meant was, whatever services they have done to Srila Prabhupada, that is, to their credit, pure devotee service. But as much as they are not an Uttamadhikari, they're not pure devotees.
No, you can be that type of pure devotee as a Kanistha Adhikari.
Yes.
If you're following all the regular principles perfectly, you're doing everything perfectly, you treat your family members exactly according to Shastra. If you are, again, the chief pujari in a beautiful temple with Radha Krishna deities carved out of gorgeous marble, that's all very high level stuff. Higher levels of pure Krishna by far.
Yeah.
And yet that's Kanistha Adhikari.
Yes. So then he goes further to say they can act as they can act as they were by Prabhupada's mercy. Whatever.
They can ask what?
He's saying they can act as they were by Prabhupada's mercy. Prabhupada did say.
What's that word? It sounds like W-E-R-E.
Yeah, were. Yes. Were.
They can ask as they used to be by Prabhupada's mercy.
No, he's saying they can act. They can act as they were by Prabhupada's mercy.
Oh, they can act.
Yes, they can act
as they used to.
As they were by Prabhupada's mercy.
Were where?
Yeah, I'm not sure where I think he's confused.
Well, it seems that what he's saying is you can act sinfully within the realm of the four regulated principles by Prabhupada's mercy. And I suppose people could say that because Prabhupada didn't reject anyone for not being a perfectly following all the instructions and guidances. Yeah. But that's because nobody even bothered to find out what a Kanistha Adhikari was. I mean, if you ask pure Krishna, what is a Kanistha Adhikari? I wonder how far he would be able to go before he falls on his face.
Yeah, this sentence doesn't make sense. They can act as they were by Prabhupada's mercy. Prabhupada did say pure.
Well, isn't that pretty obvious? They can behave as they used to before they were devotees by Prabhupada's mercy.
Yeah, it sounds very absurd.
That means they can keep their. Oh, what's your name? My name is Mr. Jones. Are you initiated? Yeah, my name is Jones Das, but no, I'm still call myself Mr. Jones. Well, that's what they used to be, okay? But in other words, what he's talking about apparently is mixed devotional service.
Yes, mixed, yeah. And Yabilashita Beach.
But the person is not 100% the way they used to be, or they wouldn't be devotees.
Yes.
They have to follow regular principles. Well, they didn't used to follow them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They have to go to the temple, take part in temple activities. They didn't used to do that. So whatever he's saying about used to doesn't really apply. It's ignorance of the difference between Madhyam, Kanistha, Madhyam, and Uttamadhikari, and a clear misunderstanding of the nature of Diksha and Shiksha Guru.
Jai, okay.
Poor fund of knowledge.
Yeah, insufficient guidance.
If you are posing as a guru, supposedly in the line of the Sattvic succession, my suggestion to Bir Krishna Prabhu Maharaj is ignorance is not bliss.
Yes, simply protection. Fools rush in where angels fear to tread.
Huh?
I said fools rush in where angels fear to tread.
Yes, no kidding.
Yeah.
And fools rush in because they used to tread where angels feared to tread.
Jai, so it's been a
Oh, that's
lively.
good. Oh, this is very nice thing. I think the two statements, your conversation with Bir Krishna and the statement before that you so nicely analyzed, and our conversations around it and the addenda will be beneficial to those who are listening we're listening now, and maybe we'll listen in 20 years from now to what we have said.
Yeah.
Because I want to say things that will only be pertinent 100 years from now. How about 1,000? How about 8,000 years from now?
Yeah.
We should be speaking as though this were 8,000 years from now, and we should speak from what we believe ISKCON should be 8,000 years from now.
Jai, yeah, that's why all our programs are archived and recorded and discussed publicly, So we discuss all these things out there publicly. Anyone can join, anyone can come debate with us, anyone can share their realization, and anyone can correct us.
And put it this way, we're still a big step ahead of the Bible, both Old and New Testaments, and Aramaic, Chaldaic, and every other language, Babylonian.
Yes.
That we're way ahead because those people are still trying to figure out, did Jesus really exist?
Yes.
And they sort of have faith that he really existed, but they're trying to find something that proves that he really existed. What we're doing now, but Prabhupada proved that he existed all by himself by making recordings.
Yeah. Yes.
And even if people made a worldwide concentrated effort, as the Catholic Church did with the Gnostic texts, to destroy everything Prabhupada ever said, which they could try if they wanted to, it would be very rare to see that they would be able to destroy everything.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at it, Srila Prabhupada came to America in 1966, and then 1965, and started the movement in 1966. And it's been 44 years since 1977, Srila Prabhupada's passing away. And now when you look at Jesus's appearance, it has been 2,000 years. How the teachings has been distorted, manipulated, changed, and that is somewhat going on after 44 years. Well, it was going on back in 1970 to Srila Prabhupada tried to correct these things. So now, 1,000 years from now, or 2,000 years from now, will the Krishna consciousness movement be another Christianity type of movement? That is what we're trying.
Well, our objective is that it won't.
Yes, that's why we're having this.
Take into account that all the Gospels that were written like 75 years after the death of Jesus, the crucifixion. So who remembered it all perfectly, and who wrote it down perfectly, and who didn't have a motive?
Right.
Constantine conspicuously had a motive. He said to the bishops that couldn't agree, said, you have a certain amount of time in front of you right now. If you don't agree by that time, we'll start killing you off. So the bishops quickly began to agree.
Well, the gurus are doing something similar, but not to that larger degree that they are doing. So that's why we're trying to check that by having this.
Yeah, well, that's why we need to establish that ISKCON is a republic for which you stand.
Yes.
A republic, not a monarchy, not a totalitarian structure, but a republic represented. And they say, well, if it's a republic, what is it? That each temple president starts to dictate what the scripture is going to be?
No.
No. Prabhupada is the scripture.
Yes.
Everything coming from Prabhupada is the scripture as it is.
Yes.
We have it. Isa-Upanishad, Introduction to the Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and the
Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Chaitanya Charitamrita. Yes, we have it.
Yeah.
There's nothing more needed until the end of the universe.
Jai.
But certainly, this is what we have till the end of the golden age of Kali.
Yes.
It's only a few thousand more years.
Jai.
And the Christians, look at what the Christians were up to. They were mostly illiterate. Everything they were blessed, many of them, with photographic memory. In other words, they could remember whole books of scripture without writing them down. But human nature is human nature also, so take that into account.
Jai.
And there was not a single situation that was not motivated by somebody. Is Mahaprabhu, is Mahaprabhu still here?
Mahaprabhu is still here, but he's on mute, so.
Oh, I see. But he can hear, right?
Yes. I'd like to share some of the comments that some devotees have made on our program that we're having here. He's
on this one or others?
On this one and others. He's saying,
go for it.
He's saying, thank you, Bhakta Singh. I love listening to you devotees. So this person made a comment because we're discussing these things very openly and people are appreciating. Right now.
Yeah, well, that's open is the one thing that ISKCON refuses to provide.
Yes. Yes. Jai. So thank you, devotees, for watching. If you want to participate in this program, you're welcome to come in and share your realizations and then present whatever you want to present, and we can have a discussion on it and come to a conclusion that would be satisfactory to you, to all the devotees in the world for the progressive.
And you know what I would like to add to what you just said?
Yes, Prabhu, go ahead.
Your voice will be heard.
Yes, your voice will be heard. Yes.
No, okay, another one. How many are there?
Well, right now we're getting 5 people watching on our.
Oh, that's wonderful. Welcome, everybody.
Jai.
I hope you. I'm not asking for anyone to think I know any answers. I'm asking you to come up with answers from the level of Paramatma, from Krishna, from Guru Shastra Sadhu. That means Paramatma also. Yes. So anyhow, how many comments do you have?
One devotee quoted a Srimad Bhagavatam verse. Kumara Prabhu is saying, quote, from Srimad Bhagavatam 29:17. For a devotee, there is no point in making friends with ordinary persons. He should make friendship with other devotees. This is called iṣṭa-goṣṭhī.
Right.
So this person is, I guess, watching our program and appreciating these things. So
that is one definition of iṣṭa-goṣṭhī.
Yeah.
But we're operating on one that Prabhupada constructed for one reason, to protect him from having to answer millions of letters every week.
Yes, yeah.
We must said, sit down with the coward boy, sit down with Lord Krishna, open your mouth, speak the truth, and work it out. And we did.
And then one devotee says, Gustavo Herenes, Dandavat pranams to all Krishna devotees. Jai.
Jai.
So yes, our program is being archived. So if you want to join this program, I have a WhatsApp link in the description. So please join the WhatsApp group, and every time we go live, you will get a Zoom link and you are personally invited to come in and discuss with us.
Great. Well, keep going, keep going.
That's about it for tonight, boys and girls.
Two. You had 2 comments?
Yeah.
Tonight?
Yes.
Great.
Yeah. Jai.
This is wonderful.
So here's the Zoom link. If people are watching on Facebook, you can see this link right here. Yeah. In the description, you just click join above. So you just click on this link and have WhatsApp installed on your computer or on your phone, and then you come in the chat group, and then that's where we post the links where you can personally get connected with us and ask questions, call us, and participate in this wonderful lively discussions.
And challenge our points of view.
Yes, challenge.
We think we're giving you the truth. Well, this is your chance to tell the truth, even if it doesn't agree with what we're saying.
Yes.
And that's Istagosthi means at the end of this Istagosthi, we should have reached a conclusion that is satisfying to everyone, not just the people at the top.
Jai.
They're not at the top, but I mean, they present themselves as being at the top. So go ahead. Jai. So are we complete?
We're complete for the night. So our next program will be on Saturday. We'll go for another 2 hours on Saturday and Sunday. And
yeah, well, that's incredible. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much to all the devotees watching Narayan Prabhu and anyone who will be watching in the future. Hare Krishna, and all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.